In today's video, you're going to learn how to make wet roads inside of Octane using Cinema 4D. Let's go. Hey guys, this is Dave of Locked and Loading, here doing a tutorial with Greyscalegorilla. So, you may have noticed a lot in movies when they're about to do a street scene, they'll wet down the road. And this is because it kind of gives it more contrast, makes it a little bit brighter, so it's not just plain, boring, black, matte, flat road. And also we get those really cool reflections out of it. And so today we're going to jump inside of Cinema 4D and we're going to open up Octane Mix Materials. And I'm going to show you how to make these puddles and wet reflections on the floor and on the street textures and things like that. So let's not waste any more time. Let's jump into this. Let's do it.
All right, let's do this. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to start downloading our textures. So I just went on to polygon.com. They've got a handful of really great free textures that you can just find on their site really quickly and start downloading some of these. And you know, this is one we're going to be using, which is great. I mean, it comes up to 6K free to use here. So, and it comes with 6 different maps: ambient occlusion, diffuse, displacement, gloss, normals, reflection, all this awesome stuff. So download this guy here if you want to follow along exactly with me, or any other street texture or road texture or whatever that you want, or ground texture. Really, it will work for all of them. So that's just a good one to get started with. So all right, what we're going to start with first is our gloss texture. In this, let's start importing some of these textures that we just downloaded. So I'm going to add an image texture here. I'm going to do this part pretty fast because, you know, you guys should pretty much figure this out already. I'm going to bring this in. Do you want to create a copy? Nope, definitely don't. Let's bring in our normal. Same thing, image texture. Cool, grab the normal. Since I'm going to be putting this into a mix material, I don't need to bring the displacement in here because it won't work, in fact, when you start using a mix material. So we'll have to apply any displacement inside of that. So I'm just probably going to keep it with the normal and the diffuse for now. And let's make another gloss material. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to start labeling some of this stuff. Actually, this first material we just built, we're going to call this basically... this will be our dry ground. Cool. And let's make some wet grounds. Dry road, because we might do another one where we do other kind of ground. Dry road, road, and we'll do wet road. That sounds kind of weird, but you know, what can you do? I'm gonna have to say it over and over again. All right, cool. So we're gonna do the same thing for the wet road. So I'm just gonna copy this shader here, drop it in here, paste shader, and you know what? I'm not gonna do any bump. I'm not gonna do anything else in here. I am gonna go into the dry road though, and in the specular, I'm going to make a layer here. And inside this layer, let's go to shader, Octane, image texture. In this image texture, I want to import the displacement one. And the reason I'm doing this is because I actually, even on the dry road, I want to get some wetness in here. What I want is inside the cracks and like crevices and, you know, all on those indented bumps in our texture, I want them to look like they're filled up with water as well. So I'm going to invert this material, and let's pop back. Ooh, yeah, there it is. Pop back a folder, and you can see right here. So everything that's in white is going to be glossy. And so I might actually throw an effect, maybe a brightness contrast. I don't really know what I'm going to do with this yet. Probably just increase this contrast a little bit. Well, not that much. Maybe something like that, right? Because now whatever is highlighted in white, I might increase the brightness a little bit. Nope, not going to do that. Probably play with the gamma here. Yeah, maybe something like that. I'm not sure. Either way, these numbers don't have to be dialed in exactly. You don't have to follow what I'm doing. I'm looking at this little thumbnail, and I'm going to be coming in and going back and forth and tweaking this if I were to use this on like a final project. So I'm just going to kind of wing this right now. But do know that, you know, when you watch tutorials, just don't like hit the same buttons. Like everything's going to be like based on what the heck it is that you're making. So now we've got a little bit of that glossiness happening in here. So the reason I didn't put any bump or anything on the wet road is because I actually want this to be like a puddle and be mostly smooth. So if you do use some bump, maybe use it sparingly. Maybe play with that brightness level of the texture and bring it up so there's barely any of that white in the road. So if we do get a little bump in the reflection, that it's subtle, right? So it's like a little bit, just some higher pieces of gravel on the road. All right, so let's just add a plane into our scene. And now I'm going to add a mix material. You can see I added some of my materials because it's frequently used. So I just dropped them into my menu here. So in this mix material, I'm going to put my dry road and my wet road in here. All right, I'm going to stop doing the road thing. Tommy Boys hasn't been on for a long time. All right, I'm gonna instead of using the float texture, I want to use noise. And so I'm going to use this noise to kind of cut between both of these. And so I don't want to use just the regular noise. I'm going to use this guy, the turbulence. And let's just change this global scale. I'm making up numbers right now because I got to apply the texture first. But I do know that I want some contrast out of here. I don't know. We'll just keep this for now. And I'm going to drop this onto our plane. All right, so I'm just going to change the scale of this. It's nice this manhole covers here because I can kind of judge what roughly the aspect ratio is. You know, I just want that to kind of be circular. Let's add a little camera, Octane camera into our scene here. And let's render this guy. Let's just see what he looks like. I'm going to bring my little render window over. Whoop. All right, cool. I'm going to scale this guy way down, though. Kind of just have him off into the side somewhere. Maybe right here is not that bad. All right, let's add some lights into our scene. So object, let's add a couple Octane area lights into here, just so we can really see how this thing is going to reflect. I'm going to just copy another one. Bring this down, whatever. Doesn't have to be perfect at all. I'm just going to move this down to the side. All right, so we can see that these are super crazy bright. So we don't want that. I'm just going to dial this setting down. You know, we just want to catch some of these reflections. The other thing I'm going to do is this texture is just way too bright. I kind of wanted this to be a little bit darker of a scene here. So I'm going to go back into the dry road, and I'm going to change my gamma on this maybe to 5. And I'm going to do the same thing on the wet road here. And that's just going to darken up our scene, right? And so that way we're pulling out a little bit more contrast, kind of like it's night here. What else am I going to do? I'm going to add an HDR environment, HDR link, because, you know, why not here? You know, this is what I do all the time, just for some real quick lighting to get some nice reflections going. And in this, let's see, I want to use maybe road trip. I know that there's a couple sunset ones. Oh wait, it's not road trip, is it? It's paradise. Where's paradise? There it is. Cool. Yeah, here's some like darker sunset ones that I think I want to use. Let's add those into our scene. Maybe we can get a little bit darker. Racetrack sundown. Where's this guy? Yeah, these are looking pretty good, right? So we're seeing something happening here now. So let me just get a different kind of angle on this, just so we can see what these reflections are doing. I might in fact move some of our lights up and scale these. Really, I just want to get some cool reflections going. So however best we can see these reflections is the look that I'm going for. Let's see, maybe even rotate this guy. Cool. All right. So this is looking like a pretty even gloss that's happening right here. So I want to jump back into my mix material, and I think we got to get a little bit more contrast going in here. Definitely too much white area. And let's see if we start increasing this low clip. It's going to get more and more splotchy. I'm also going to go into the displacement. We're going to add a displacement into here. So displacement, definitely not 10. I know that right off the top of the head. Let's say Cinema 4D, Octane, displacement. I'm going to just increase this here. And let's grab our displacement. Okay, and that's just going to get us a little bit more bump going on inside of our road. I'm going to actually increase my gamma. Oh, it didn't increase in the gloss. I must have been navigating hit 3 or something, because I do want that a little bit darker. Let's go 6 here. I want this road nice and dark. Cool. Let's get in a little bit closer. Okay, we can see it's still really kind of oh, let's see, let's bring some more of that white back in. So basically I'm using these to kind of separate each other. I think I gotta actually reverse this. I think I want the dry road on the bottom and the wet road on the top. Okay, cool. I think that's getting more to where I want it to be. So let's play with this. I think I want the contrast up even higher, maybe some more brightness. Let's just tweak this around. Cool. Okay, so this is like part 1 in the step, and you can see already, you know, how it's reflecting these lights in our scene here. So if I move around, you can see that this is in fact not as glossy in these areas because it's not reflecting that light, which is what we want. That's kind of cool, right? And so already we're getting a little bit more dry patches and a lot of glossy. I'm going to actually do the same thing in the wet road material here. So I'm going to go into Specular, and I'm going to say noise, and let's start playing with this noise here as well. I don't know what noise I'm going to use. Maybe let's just try this turbulence again. And I'm going to increase this contrast. And let's see, maybe change the scale as well. Global scale, let's say 300, say 400. I'm going to bring this black map up. Cool, you can see that I'm slowly tweaking it each time here. Kind of getting more and more closer to that kind of street. That's kind of like wet, right? And so now what else am I going to do? I'm going to go into my mixed material. I'm going to increase some of this displacement here. Let's go up to 5. Cool. Let's go even higher. Maybe we do want something like 10. I'm just trying to get a little bit more bump out of this. And I'm going to make another environment here. Let's say object. Let's go with a texture environment, and I'm going to make this texture black. Let's just get this whole scene feeling a little bit more night, because then it's going to feel a little bit more accurate, right? Because I'm doing darker street with these kind of lights going on here, and that will make it feel a little bit more accurate. All right, so I want to take this light, and I'm going to increase the length of it because I really want to show off these reflections. And same thing with this guy. Cool. Maybe even, yeah, that's fine. Maybe just rotate on this. I really want to take a look and see how this is going. All right. So in my dry road, this is looking good. Let's see if we can copy this normal channel and paste this into the wet road. Okay, we're gonna get a little bit more bump out of it. That could be okay. I think out of my mix material here, using this as a noise channel, I think that's what we're gonna have to focus on, because if we start looking at this image, it's just not getting pushed enough. I want these to be a little bit more defined, which tells me that I have to really kind of go in here and start pulling this a little bit more than what it is right now. So I'm going to really ramp up this contrast. Let's just refresh this, and let's see if this is going to start doing anything for us. Yeah, you can start to see this happening a little bit more in here. Let's also let's decrease my low clip so we get more of that puddle look, right? You can start seeing this puddle happening more and more. I wonder what would happen if I turn these lights off and we just use the, why is the sky not even working? What's the dealio? I think maybe let's try to brighten this up. Oh, okay. You know, that's what it is. I'm overriding. Also, just good learning lesson while I'm working here. I'm overriding with this sky where I want to light it with this. So this is primary environment, and I want to change this to visible environment. And then we should get the sky, HDRI should start lighting our scene again here. There we go. Cool. I'm just going to increase the brightness here. Yeah, I kind of wish, well, we need those lights on, unfortunately. I'm going to just start changing the scale of them because I blew them way up here, but that's not helping anymore. So let's turn these down, something a little bit more realistic, like a window scene or something like that. Kind of pull this in, pull it down to the side. Cool. Okay, so you can kind of see where we're going with this texture creation at this point, right? And so a lot of texturing has to deal with lighting, and so you can follow my same steps on how I'm doing this. But if you don't get your lighting down, well, you know, you're never going to get this scene looking accurate. So you can see already, like from what I had prior to what I have now, it's like a night and day difference. So lighting has a lot to do with it. So copy this guy, maybe move another one all the way down here. Cool. And then you can start playing even with the color of these too, right? So you can say check on use color and make this color, where is that general? Let's say we want it to be kind of this orangey tone, right? And then you can start playing with that a little bit, and maybe this guy is in this blue spectrum, right? So whatever, I'll probably just leave that as is. So now we can start to see that we're starting to get what feels like to me more like puddly in these areas. All right, let's keep tweaking though. I'm going to take another light and I'm going to move, let's see, this light is going to go somewhere above, you know, kind of like a street lamp here. And that way, because I want to get a little bit of overhead in my lights. Cool. Perfect. Let's jump back in. Right? So closer and closer each time to getting that night kind of wet road look here. So I still think, so this is kind of good. This to me feels like, you know, a road that is kind of like drying though for the most part. And that's because of like how feathered, you know, these puddles are. And so maybe go back into the wet road here. And remember that in the specular, I did add this noise in here. So maybe we need more contrast in here to get more of this sharper look. I'm going to decrease this, right? So here's those puddles kind of coming back. So I'm using two different layers now. I'm going to change the seed of this so they're just not straight on top of each other. And you can see now that we can like change how these puddles look. I can also go back in and start tweaking in our dry road, because remember we added in that specular, so inside the cracks and stuff would have that kind of glossy look. I think it's a little bit overdone in here though. So I'm going to go into the specular and then start tweaking this as well. So what I want is to have, right, you can see if I increase this, let's just increase it a lot. You're going to see it gets glossier and glossier all on the surface because this is all brightening up. But if I go the opposite way on this, 0.9, it's going to start limiting it more and more just to these dark areas, which is what I want. So I want a lot more of that in there. So now it's starting to restrict itself. So it's going to start just puddling right in those cracks and crevices and all that stuff. So that's perfect. Now I want to go back into my wet road here. And I want to start tweaking this edge. I don't want it to be this this defined. So there's a couple things I want to do, and I don't want the road to be this dry everywhere. Well, how could I go and fix that? Well, I know whatever is in white here in the shader is going to appear as a glossy puddle. So maybe I want to go into my black point and bring this more into a gray. Let's keep pushing this. Let's go even more brighter with that. And you're going to see that now it's starting to mess with whatever is separating it from this mix material. So I can go back into this mix material again and start doing the same thing. Bring this into more of that gray area, and you're going to see this shadow is going to spread more and more. I can turn down this contrast so it feathers out, right? And you can see now the whole thing's kind of getting glossy. I can kind of find my happy little in between, maybe make this a little darker. And so that way the whole road's got some glossiness, but then we've got some individual puddles here as well. And this is really starting to be a little bit more of what I want. Exactly. So you can make these puddles grow as well. So let's do that, because this wet material in the specular is turbulence at 663 global scale to 400. So if we do the same thing to this, right, the seed is 663. So we'll make the seed the same, and then if we match these numbers, right, if we start playing with these numbers, we can make one less than the other as well. So what do we got? This might be actually what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy that shader, and I'm going to just paste it into here. So now it's duplicated, doubled up on itself. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take down this contrast, so this one would spread out a little bit further, right? Maybe not that much. And I'm going to increase the black on this so it's darker. So now it's going to spread out from the edges of the puddle. I'm going to go back in, going to go into the specular of the wet road, right? And so this is just a back and forth game of tweaking until you're happy with it. I just think these puddles are way too glossy right now, way too defined. So I'm going to take down my contrast a little bit, so they kind of spread out. Maybe 97 or 98. Yeah, so that way they have a little bit of a feather, and I'm going to bring this black point in a little bit more. Okay, so now this is where we can get into the index a little bit. So let's just increase this to 1.7. You're going to see that it's going to get a lot glossier. Let's bring it down to 1.1, you know, and now that's a little bit more subtle, and these are starting to feel more like puddles. So that's where I'm going to take it in this lesson. Just wanted to do something really quick, right? And you can see here, let me just move over, and you can see if I can catch some of the lights here in these cracks, right? See, in these kind of areas, that is what we want, because we want it to make this road feel like within these cracked areas the water is collecting, and that will give it more and more of that effect. So that's perfect. That's what we want, guys. So I'm going to conclude this tutorial, and remember to keep playing with stuff. You know, this is not finished. Like I mentioned a couple things, like I would keep diving into this more and more to really hone in on this look. But I think for this lesson, this gives you guys enough to just start and get this wet kind of nighttime road effect.
All right, guys, thanks for watching. If you like what you see, make sure to subscribe to Greyscalegorilla here on YouTube. And also, keep on creating, keep on making stuff, and teach everybody what you know. Keep spreading the love. See you guys. I just thought that'd be uncomfortable for everybody. So, yeah, that's it. See ya.